Rangers are being linked with a ridiculous amount of players at the minute, but some of these rumours are clearly a lot stronger than others. We've got one deal that looks basically done, a few where there's genuine interest, and then a couple I'd definitely be taken with a pinch of salt. So let's go through 9 players currently being mentioned and look at how realistic each one actually is. I apologise in advance for the pronunciation of most of these players. We'll start with Cozier-Duberry because this one looks by far the strongest. Rangers have reportedly agreed a deal in principle with PSV worth around £7 million, and he's already been in Glasgow completing his medical. So unless something goes badly wrong at the final stage, this doesn't really feel like a transfer rumour anymore. This feels like a signing that's just waiting to be officially announced. Jayden Magoma is another one I'd put firmly in the strong category. Rangers have apparently opened talks with Brentford about bringing him back on loan, and with Romans injured, you can completely understand why they'd want another left back in quickly. Magoma already knows the club and the league, so there shouldn't be much of an adjustment period either. This one makes a lot of sense and it feels very realistic. James Penrice is another genuine target, although this one seems a bit more complicated. Rangers are still interested in bringing him back to Scotland from AEK Athens, but the issue appears to be the structure of the deal. Rangers have looked at loan type options, while AEK seem to prefer a permanent sale, so I'd call this a strong rumour, but there's clearly still work to do before it gets anywhere near the finish line. Costa Nedeljkovic is one I'd put just below that level. Rangers are reportedly exploring a deal with Aston Villa for the Serbian right back, potentially either permanently or through a loan with some sort of option attached. There does appear to be genuine interest here, so it's definitely more than just somebody throwing a random name around. It's not at the advanced stage yet, but this is one I definitely keep an eye on. Hugo Sakai is interesting because the Rangers' interest appears to be genuine, but actually getting the deal done looks very difficult. Rangers have reportedly made an approach, possibly even a bid, but Club Brugge's position seems to be that he simply isn't for sale, so the interest is real, but the chances of it happening don't look particularly strong right now. Unless Brugge soften their stance, Rangers might have to look elsewhere. A Mario Cozier-Duberry is another one that's still hanging around. Rangers have held discussions with Brighton and the interest definitely seems to be there, but Brighton have apparently paused talks for the moment. That doesn't necessarily mean the deal is dead, and there's still a chance negotiations could restart later in the window. So I'd describe this as a live rumour, but definitely one that's cooled a little compared with where it was. Ryan 1 is probably the most confusing rumour on this list. We've had reports suggesting Rangers made contact with Sheffield United and even had a loan deal with an option rejected. Then another report came out saying Rangers currently have no interest in him whatsoever. When the reporting is that contradictory, I'd be very careful with it. There might have been an inquiry somewhere along the line, but right now I wouldn't call this one particularly strong. Tawanda Maswanise is a name that's come back around following Chermiti's injury. Rangers have been linked with him before, and obviously he's a player they'll know very well from Motherwell, but at the moment I haven't seen anything suggesting there's a fresh bid or advanced talks, so there might still be interest there, especially now Rangers need another forward, but for now I'd call this one possible rather than probable. And finally, Joe Gelhardt, his name is being mentioned as Rangers look at striker options following the Chermiti injury, but this one still feels very early. There doesn't appear to be anything close to the level of negotiations we're seeing with some of the defensive targets. Gelhardt would certainly fit the profile of a mobile forward, but at the moment this feels more like a player Rangers are considering rather than somebody they're actively close to signing. So right now, Driowek looks basically done. Magoma and Penrice feel like the strongest deals after that, and Nedeljkovic is definitely one to watch. Siket looks difficult, Cozier-Duberry has cooled slightly, and the striker links still feel a lot less certain. Rangers clearly aren't finished in this window though, and with injuries already changing the recruitment plans, I'd expect plenty more names to appear before it closes.